There was a flow of water and it was 70 metres wide. It was wide as the River Shannon flowing across the road.
Well, it started raining on Christmas Day and it rained day and night. And from that day on, I could see the water rising nearly a foot and a half every few hours.
The level that came this time, I'm strong enough, and there was days that you would bend like.
On New Year's Eve, around 5 o'clock in the evening, it just came in over the sandbags and I just had to clear all the cows out, except the ones that were milking. And then the following morning, the last shed where I had the milking cows, I just had enough time to dry them and move them out in the fields. When I went back next day just to see how they were and feed them, they were all in a bunch, roaring with the cold and the hunger.
On Christmas Day the water was rising. We didn't think to start coming into the sheds. But on New Year's Day it breached the 6 feet of sandbags, and we had the biggest pump we could find in County Galway, where the bags were or weren't made no difference. My house is on farm, and the next thing I went into the house and there was 6 inches of water inside in the house. So as well as the cattle having to move out, I had to move out myself. There's 90% of my farm flooded, and the 10% that didn't, I can't access it. The road each side of me is flooded as well.
Well, when the water rose so quick, it was very important for us to keep the pumps going, because if the pump stopped, it would just be like the tide coming in. So I literally spent, I'd say, 6 or 7 nights without any sleep. All I was afraid of was if the water came in very suddenly, it would lift the slats. The cows would be so frightened, they'd jump into the tanks. It didn't seem as bad when I let them out. At least I let it flood away. I said, there's nothing I can do about it. But the week trying to keep the water out, you'll never forget it. Like,
the loss of income is like to reseed, say 90 acres. It's costing us €200 an acre to reseed. Like,
you don't feel the year going round, and bills have to be paid, and if you have nothing to meet it, where do you go? So you can't stay at that forever.
At the price of milk at 22 or 3 cents, I'd be better off, I think, if I just sold half them.
Here in South Galway the flood started in 1990, and the powers that be said it was a once in a 100-year thing that had happened. But ever since that we have 5 floods since, and they've been progressively higher. The sad part about all this is there's a solution to the problem. It's only to dig a channel for 100 metres through the highest point to let the water flow to the sea. If there was 400 metres of a channel dug in Cahermore, there'd be no roads closed at the moment. There'd be no people out of their homes.
Well, what I think that really annoyed me most was it flooded badly in 09 in Gort town, and they had the cheek to come along and tell us then what they were doing would have no effect on us whatsoever. But this year there wasn't as much as a drop of water in it. Not as much as a drop. And water just doesn't melt once it goes under the bridge. They just literally pumped it down on top of us, and they didn't care whether we went with it or not. 30 or 40 feet of water. And all you've left really is just pure dirt. At the end of the day, I think we're at nothing, because you can plan for nothing. You don't. And as well as that, the mental aspect of it as well, like, changes you completely.